Hi, I'm Liam. I'm 29 and I signed up for the 2025 Melbourne Marathon. I'm one of those classic people who's fallen in love with running over the last couple of years, and I wanted to share my journey and document my experience heading into the Melbourne Marathon. It's the first real marathon that I've ever run, and I wanted to use this opportunity, document this series to keep myself accountable, to have a little bit of fun with it. I thought it would be a little bit exciting, but also to share my experiences and encourage other people. If you're like me, I'm a dad of a young toddler, part of a family. I've got a really busy work life as a mortgage broker in a very high demand business. I've got other commitments like volunteer commitments and serving in my local church. And all these things take up a lot of time during my week. And falling in love with running has just absolutely ruined that because I would love to just go and run all the time. So, training for this Melbourne Marathon, I just want to put my best foot forward. I do really want to not just finish it, I want to race it. I want to try and get as fast as I possibly can. Like many runners, I'd love to hit the goal of hitting a sub 3 hour marathon. I know it's an arbitrary number, but it's something that I would be proud of. Awesome achievement. And I know that that's been a long way from where I am with my fitness right now. Is it something that I can achieve within this 16-week training block? Maybe you'd have to follow along to find out. We're going to figure that out together. If you've got any tips, if you've done it before and you want to make recommendations, you're very welcome to do so. I am doing this as an exercise to learn as much as I've learned about running over the last couple of years. So I'd started running back in August of 2023 when I wasn't feeling great about my fitness and my health. I was playing a basketball game once a week and just didn't feel like that was doing anything for me. I didn't want to go and sign up for a gym, didn't want to commit to going to a gym, and knew that I probably wouldn't do it even if I did those things. The only thing I knew that I could do was step out the front door, which I could do for free with my runners on, and go for a run. And so I started trying to do that. Didn't get very far. I definitely didn't get a kilometer. It wouldn't surprise me if I didn't get to 400 or 600 meters before my body and my skin was rapidly itching because of all the blood flow that I was experiencing in places that I hadn't before, ever since since a kid, and exercising lots. And that prevented me from running very far. It was something that I just had to continue to push through, where I would step out the door the next week and run, and I could run a little bit further before this itching sensation would come on. And I kept doing that until I was running further and further, and my body started to feel better and better. And here we are in 2025. We've signed up for a marathon. It'll be my first marathon, and very excited to do it, and really hoping that I can race it to the best of my ability. Since I started running back in 2023, it wasn't structured, it wasn't consistent, and wouldn't say that I was much of a runner. It was very leisurely. Um, I was thrilled to be part of the Melbourne Half Marathon in October of 2024. Got a ticket about 4 weeks before and decided, well, I better train for it and nail the paces that I'm going to try and hit. And so I did that and was really happy. I was hoping to run it in under 150. I got it in 150, which was cool. I was stoked with that, and it was a really hard thing to do. And at the end of it, I was like, damn, the marathon is double what I just did. That's wild. Yet I've signed up for one. I then proceeded to tick a item off my bucket list for 2024, which was to run a full marathon by the end of the year. In the last days of December, I just did a backyard marathon, and it took me well over 4 hours to do it. The goal wasn't to do it as fast as I can, it was just to get it done. Ran really well for the first 30 to 32 kilometers, and then after that, I think my fueling strategy let me down because I had come in with the idea that I didn't need to fuel as much because my effort was lower, but you're on your feet for longer and that doesn't really change things. So I definitely needed more fuel, but it was also a fact that I'd never run further than 21 Ks before that. So it was a real challenge, but I loved it. I loved getting to the end of it and finishing it. That was awesome, especially when the last 10 Ks was hell, but it was awesome. So knowing that I'd signed up for this Melbourne Marathon in October of 2025, um, to start this year in 2025, my main goal was just to get faster. And I was really hoping that I could get my 5K time to under 20 minutes. At the beginning of 2024, it was at 22 and a half minutes, which was kind of good. 4-minute 30s for the kilometers, for 5 kilometers. Not all went to plan. I didn't really get heaps faster. At the beginning of April, before we went on a trip to America, I ran it in 21:17. So I brought that time down a little bit, but it wasn't really getting anywhere close to the 20-minute 5K. So I am hoping that as part of this program that I'm going to hit that goal as well. That'll be an awesome win. If I don't, will I be disappointed? Probably. Something's wrong with my training program if I can't do it by the end of this. But I know that I'd definitely need to be able to do that if I was ever going to run a 3-hour marathon. So all in part of the timeline of milestones that I want to hit and goals that a lot of runners want to hit is getting that 20-minute 5K, that 40-minute 10K, and then half marathon, an hour and a half, and 3-hour marathon. So they're things that are all on the agenda. But this video series, I want to do this to just have a little bit of fun, remain accountable to my program, and encourage anyone else that's out there that might be a dad, mum, who's got goals with their fitness journey, and they might just be getting started out. And I'll just join us for the ride. I'm sure that you'll be encouraged and want to get out there for yourself. As part of the 16-week training block, I did meet with a running coach, and for now I've decided that is not the route that I'm going to go, just for now. I have decided that at least for the first month of my program, I'm going to be using the Runner app, Runner. And I'm quite excited about it. It's an awesome looking platform that's powered by AI, which is cool. I can't believe AI is doing that. But it makes me really motivated and makes me really want to stay accountable to my program. And so what I am committing to as part of my training program, which you're going to see unfold over 16 weeks, is for many people training for a marathon, they're going to do 3 key sessions per week. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do 2 key sessions per week, which will be my interval or speed session, and then the long run. The reason for that is I've attempted doing 3 key sessions during the week, and with my life, with the work-life balance, family commitments, it's a real struggle for me to hit 3 key sessions, not just to do the sessions, but mainly to recover in between them. And I'm much better off doing 2 key sessions and producing quality sessions out of those 2 sessions than coming out of any one of those 3 sessions not being able to hit my targets and have a quality session for the other ones throughout the week. And then it just has this poor compounding effect that I don't properly recover leading into any session moving forward. So I'm going to have 2 key sessions, ideally on a Tuesday every week, which might have to be played with depending on my life. And Saturday's long runs. Sunday I simply cannot do because church is such a big part of our life that I just can't fit that in on a Sunday. I'm going to be doing easy runs around that, mainly recovery runs and easy runs that will fall on, at the moment, Monday, Thursday, and Friday. And then ideally, I will introduce a short one, like 5-kilometer recovery run on a Sunday as well, depending on how my body's adapting to the training over the first few weeks. Now, the big thing heading into this program for me has been that I've been quite sick and I've been inconsistent, been on antibiotics, and those things have all been struggles for me with my training leading into the beginning of the 16 weeks. So I know that I just need to develop the base and try and get moving in hitting my goals on the 5 runs per week and trying to hit the paces, or at least what's being programmed for me on those 2 key sessions. Around that, with the easy runs and recovery runs, I don't care about the paces. I'm just going to get out there and get some mileage as easily as possible. I will happily slow it down, and I'm not embarrassed that my Strava might have a slower pace on that. So if I'm running it over a 6-minute per kilometer pace, I have no issue with that. And so far, that's what I've been doing, because the idea is not to tax my body on easy runs. I need to get myself in a place where that Tuesday and Saturday session are where I am prime, ready to go, and I want to nail those sessions. So what I want to share with you, for at least for this first week, is in the runner program, what it has done for me and how I've set it up. So I think it's an awesome platform here. It connects with Strava and it connects with my Garmin as my watch of choice. So as I step into the program, when I set this up, I picked my event, the Nike Melbourne Marathon, and it is falling on the 12th of October 2025, and answered some questions. Asked me how many times I want to run those key sessions, how often I want them to be, what days for them to fall on. I've included a little bit of a strength program, which I've done none of so far. Again, I'm just trying to hit my runs to start with, and then how progressive or challenging I want things to be. I said that my longest run leading into this was 16 kilometers, which is not quite true. It was shorter than that. As I said, I have had a pretty poor 4 to 8 weeks really leading into this because of sickness and inconsistency. I said 16 kilometers because I know I could comfortably do that from a fitness point of view. And I have been running less than 25 kilometers per week, but I said 35 kilometers because I know I can comfortably hit that mileage with hitting my runs, and my body's in a place where I can do that. And I don't want it to start off too low because I know it won't reach the kind of mileage that I want to achieve. So in setting this out, what's really cool is as it's put this plan together, I said that my fitness was at the level of running a 1 hour 40 half marathon. I ran a 1 hour 50 in October last year. My fitness has progressed a lot further than that now, and I'd be quite comfortable that I'd hit under a 145, but I put in a 140 so that I could try and push my fitness forward a little bit further. I actually don't know where I'm at, but it's estimating that I can get to a 3 hour 13 to a 3 hour 21 marathon. And ideally, I'm going to bring that time down further too. So what it's done is laid out the mileage. I'm in the middle of week 2 right now at the time of recording this, but 37 kilometers in the first week. It's going to be 41 kilometers the second week, 46, and then every fourth week is a deload week. It removes a run and it puts less mileage on that full week as well. But what we're going to get to is mileage in a peak week of 72 kilometers in week 13. And my longest run is going to be 34 kilometers, which is in week 11. So really looking forward to those. They're quite far away though. Let's break down what the first week looked like. Now, as I've been sick, I've actually done a lot of my running on a treadmill indoors, just to keep out of the really poor weather that we've been having lately, and that I continue to tick the boxes. I just want to get the running done. So it started with a 6 kilometer easy run on the Monday. I did that at night, and I rarely run at night because I don't want to ruin winding down and going to sleep, and I usually do it early morning, but sleep's been a big priority to get better, and I'm really thankful that I've done that. Tuesday, I had the intervals, which was rolling 400s. Because the Garmin was recording the speeds and it was not catching the paces properly, that workout was pretty sketchy. I definitely didn't hit my targets. And once I finished that workout, Runner actually wanted to push me backwards with my marathon time immediately. I just dismissed it. So that's the cool thing about Runner, is that if you are ahead of pace or behind pace, it wants to adjust the program and your expectations. But I dismissed that because it was irrelevant. I was hitting the paces on the treadmill, but I really don't want to do key sessions on a treadmill. That's not going to work. Then I had a 5 kilometer easy run, which was recovery on the Thursday, 7.5 kilometers easy. And then on the Saturday, 13 kilometer progressive long run. Thought it was quite short, but it was actually a really challenging workout for me. And I suppose you actually joined me for that too. So what that workout looked like was 3 kilometers at a conversational pace, 4 kilometers at 4:55 per kilometer, and 4 kilometers at 4:40 per kilometer. How did I actually go with this workout? I nailed it, but I can tell you this, that it was close to an all-out effort. I definitely wouldn't have run another kilometer at those sub 5-minute kilometers. When I was in America in April, I did a 21K long run, and for that long run, I spent 8 kilometers under 5-minute pace, and I did that quite comfortably. So I was really excited about this workout and seeing where I sat compared to that back in April. Nowhere close to it, but I was definitely still sick, and I was on antibiotics, which really lifts your perceived effort when you're running and exercising. So hopefully those things really were just negative impacts, and my fitness is still at that same place, or if not better than it was back in April. But with the way that I hit this workout here, really sets it out for that first part. The aim was 4-minute 55s, and I averaged 4-minute 54 for those 4 kilometers. Couldn't quite get to 440, but I averaged a 442 for that second 4-kilometer block. And these are the splits down here: 442, 442, 444, and 440. And I'm stoked that I hit those paces in the end. It was a tough run. I was gassed at the end of it, took a break before I finished it off with my 2-kilometer warm down, but it was a really challenging run, and I'm glad that I got through week 1. And so this is what my 16 weeks is going to look like. I'm going to introduce other things like what running shoes I'm using in my rotation, talking about things like supplementation, nutrition, and my recovery methods. But ultimately, this is just the beginning of a series where I'm documenting what I do for my own accountability to encourage other people, and hopefully see how my goals might come to fruition over this next 16 weeks as we do this together. So looking forward for you to join me with that. And if you don't join me, doesn't bother me. I'm going to have fun with it anyway.
Let's go. Just finished a long run. First long run of 16-week training plan with Runner. What it set out for me to do was 3 kilometers at a conversational pace, 4 kilometers around a 4:55 per kilometer pace, and then 4 kilometers at around a 4:40 kilometer pace. I found that second one pretty hard. I don't know if it's just me or if it's my lead into the training block. I'd probably say it is around my threshold, and I've been sick for 3 weeks. Haven't been able to train properly for a month. Probably haven't ran properly since the end of April. Leading into this, not ideal, but got to the end. I really wanted to quit a couple of times because I was just holding on in that second block at around a 4:50, 4:55 pace. So I'm pleased that I actually finished it. Celebrate that. It's a win because it's not about hitting the exact targets. It's where you're at with your body and fitness. So I know that it'll do something moving forward, and hopefully I just continue to recover and have a better week next week. But ultimately it was really good. So 13 kilometers in total, and really happy. So that's week 1 of the Runner 16-week Melbourne Marathon program, and I'm feeling pretty good. Do I feel optimistic? Not entirely, but I do know it's the first week and I've come out of a few things trying to get here, so I'm pretty happy about it. But ultimately, yeah, stoked with today's effort. What I will say is that these nose strips, wore it overnight. I do notice the difference, not magnificently, because I don't think the bridge of my nose collapses much when I nose breathe, but it really does keep it open, so it made it a lot easier. Doesn't help when you're snotty though, really. Now my key is just to recover going into week 2, which I'm pretty optimistic about and looking forward to just hitting the targets. I just did what I could to hit every run this week, and that meant doing things inconveniently. I didn't run in the morning because the whole family's sick, and I did a lot of stuff at the gym and a lot of treadmill running for the easy running, because that doesn't really matter. It's about the time on the feet, and I don't really care about hitting it with a treadmill in the first week, but I definitely won't be doing that for every single week.